Good morning, guys. Afternoon actually. It is time to talk the Real Housewives. We are having a hard time keeping up this week, but I have so much more time the next couple of days, so I'm gonna get a lot of content done because I know I've been promising you a couple things like the Jennifer Armstrong, some things on the Hilton, but we just got so caught up in all of this with Lisa and Kathy. And I also want to talk about I did a little bit of research on Harry and Lisa, of course, with everything that was going on with these Patrick messages. And I have a little bit of tea kind of sorta that I thought might be interesting for you guys. So before we get started, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn those notifications on. They are what is most important. That's how you don't miss anything that we have to talk about. So I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, let's talk about, I know I'm a little bit late with this, but the Housewives of Potomac tea. I made a video and I didn't get it posted. So somehow we see this clip, it's on my Instagram, and it's Mia. It looks like they're at a club. It's the Real Housewives of Potomac. It looks like a comedy club. And whoever, God bless the fan that had a phone ready to record, okay? Because let me tell you how this played out and how quick stuff like this happened. You always got to be ready, right? When the recording starts, the recording's facing like the crowd, right? And Karen's actually behind them. She's behind a wall that says improv. She's like on one of those stools, like those comedic stools that they sit on. And when the film, it starts recording, you see the microphone getting passed from table to table to table. Now, let me point something else out to you guys real quick about the table to table. One, it was very crowded. Their table was all the way in the back. It did not look like they were filming. It didn't look like they had reservations. It looked like they might have just blown down on into this club and somehow managed to get at a table. Next to Mia, we see Gisele, and where Gisele is, we know that Robin is as well. So to the left is Robin, even though we don't actually see her in the frame. And then we have the most mysterious person we did not expect to see, which really has me questioning everything that we're going to see this season, would be Mama Joyce. Not Mama Joyce, she's from Atlanta. That's Candy's mom. I'm sorry, it's Candace's mom. She is seated next to Mia, and you guys remember everything that went on with Mia and Candace's mom. They were at the rap video shoot, and she was asking Mia was asking the mother questions about whether Chris was getting paid as a manager, and the mother really was answering and saying she couldn't believe that he had quit his job, and everything changed once they got married, and all of this ended up coming out, and Candace's mother's and hers relationship allegedly has suffered, and Candace did say that on the reunion. Now, let's get back to it. We know that Karen brought Mia on the show, right? Now, this is the thing that we always have to go back to with Bravo. Sorry, guys, I'm waiting on my sister. We don't know if the women they bring on as friends are actually friends, or women that production tells them you gotta, introduce her as your friend for, a season, whatever the case may be. We never know for sure, right? And when we saw Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Portia Williams started dating Fallon's, it was still her husband, her husband that she was divorcing, people were outraged, right? Because they were like, Portia, Miss Williams, you actually brought Fallon on the show. You introduced her to us as your friend, and now you're with her husband that she's not even divorced from yet. What the F? People were going hard at her because they're like, girl code, girl rule, girl's girl. What's going on? So we were wondering, I was sitting back wondering, is Portia going to take the heat, or is she going to throw Bravo to the wolves and tell us what we think we kind of already know? And that's exactly what she did. She said, look, I had never even met Fallon. I met Fallon the day that I went to Fallon's house and filmed with her, the day we were swimming and smoking hookah, okay? it was production's idea to bring her on, and they made it my job to bring her on as my friend. Yes, I had heard of her. Yes, I had heard of Simon, you know, before I met him. And Dennis, I think, may have met Simon because they were in the same like food bar industry. But she said she wasn't friends with her. Now we're seeing this again in New Jersey because they're bringing 3 women on, right? A friend of Melissa's, a friend of Margaret's, and a friend of Teresa's. But we know that the women really aren't friends, right? I mean, at least 2 of them, because production basically said, get your asses out there and get to know each other and double date and take pictures and ask the hard questions and have some sort of a rapport, relationship, something built by the time we start filming. We don't want to film you getting to know each other. Get to know each other on your own time. Be ready to film in a couple of weeks. That's kind of what I think production said. But production did 100% tell them to hang out. Okay, the ladies have said that production told them that before filming started in New Jersey. But I think they were like, get to know them very, very, very well if you want to get a spot on the show. Still not understand how they have Tiki and Tiki Barber's wife filming. I don't understand how she would want to even work with Bravo after they sat her in a chair at the end at the reunion and then didn't even give her 5 minutes on the reunion. I mean, we've never seen that happen. Even a Scala from Real Housewives of Potomac got a minute. Okay, back to Real Housewives of Potomac. So Karen and Mia are friends, right? Allegedly, Karen brought Mia onto the show, but this is where it gets fishy, right? Were they friends? Were they not friends? Were they just associates? Were they not associates? So the microphone gets passed over to the table where a beautiful woman stands up. It's Mia Thornton, right? Gorgeous. And she says, she was very calm, very soft voice, no profanities. And she says, I'm not mad, honey. I'm just loyal. And Karen responds and says something like her being loyal too. And then they start to kind of go back and forth. Now, the commentary on the post, whoever originated this post and actually took the video, says that the women were arguing because allegedly Mia told Karen something in confidence and Karen repeated it, which is probably true. I love to see Karen caught red-handed. It's one of my favorite things. It's funny to me because Karen very much believes that there are certain things a woman of her caliber should and shouldn't do. And even if it's something not even like that bad, like she told a fib or she accidentally, I don't even know, stirred the pot, whatever, stuff that we know they have to do as part of their job, when she gets caught, she hates it because she hates it. She just hates it. She just does not. Not that anyone likes to be caught, but Karen will certainly backtrack. She's the grand dame, and like certain things the grand dame doesn't do, and she does still do them. She just wants them to stay in the dark and not come to light, right? Now, we have to kind of talk about, did they blow down on her? Did Karen have an event set up and they just showed up there? Because I'm telling you guys, there was no cameras. And the fact that Candace's mom was sitting next to Mia, wow, that really says something, guys. Especially, let me tell you something else, especially because Gisele was on the other side of Mia. And what do we know is going on right now in Potomac between Gisele and Chris, Candace's husband? What do we know, guys? Well, we know that Giselle's trying to say Chris was inappropriate with her at last year's reunion. And yes, a sexual inappropriate is what she is alluding to, allegedly. Let me say that one more time. Gisele Bryant is alleging that Chris Bassett, Candace's husband, was at the reunion last year and acted inappropriately, sexually, if you will. And that's her story, and she's sticking to it. She's also using the whole he was drinking thing, because if you guys remember, he was drinking at last year's reunion. People always trying to say that he drinks a lot, that she drinks a lot, and that he likes to go skiing, drink a lot of Coca-Cola because he's in that restaurant business. And if you've been in the restaurant business, when you want a pick-me-up, where do you go? You go to the kitchen, you go to the cooks, because the cooks always have the Coca-Colas and they always have, you know, the broccoli, if you will, right? So if you guys know anything going on with Potomac, I want to know. Put it in the comments. What have you heard? What have you seen? Do you think they should bring, what's her name back? Katie. I like Katie. I can't help it. I like Katie. I do. I would like to see her get it together a little bit, because she is on Instagram and I know that she's like posting and putting content on there, but she's not giving housewife material content. And I think that's part of her downfall, right? But I love her and I would love to see her on the show. Now, also one more thing I want to put in here for you guys. I saw that Up and Adam is interviewing, sorry, my low battery, guys. I saw where Up and Adam is interviewing Jen Shah. Number one, congratulations to Adam. That's an amazing interview. And number two, a little bit of a weird time for an interview, because did they just get done filming? I mean, I don't think we're going to be coming into a season soon. The clips that we're seeing, I think the first part he did post, I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to. And she says, you know, that going to court is really going to be the fight of her life. It's a fight for her family. It's a fight for her innocence. And I don't even think that she realizes how true that is. It's not a good spot where Jen Shah, she's right when she has no choice. At this point, she doesn't have any choice, because everyone else listed has already copped a deal. They have all copped deals to get lesser sentences to testify against the ringleader, aka allegedly Jen Shah. So when you have criminals that make plea deals, it does make them less credible, right? I mean, that's the first thing that you know, defense would do. They would be like, these people are criminals. They wanted lesser sentences. They're just lying, right? Right. But when you have a lot of people that have turned, everyone in the case has turned, including the assistant, including the best friend, then it puts it a little bit, it's a little bit louder, right? It's just a little bit louder, and it's a little bit more true, because now you have a multitude of people saying the same thing. And that's definitely what the prosecution is going to make it look like. One thing I think Jen Shah, I love Jen Shah. I would love to come, if I had time and money, I would come help her at her trial. I swear to God I would. I know a lot about the judicial system. I'm not an attorney. I don't necessarily know a lot about law, but I just know, I know some stuff. And the thing about this is that she's going up against the federal effing government, guys. Okay, the federal government. The government rarely loses, right? The government doesn't lose very often. Okay, they have a team of young prosecutors that are ambitious. That this is a big case for them. There's lots of them. When the one set of prosecutors are, you know, work a full 12-hour day on this case, two other prosecutors or helpers pick up for the next 12 hours and work on it. When I say they work day and night on this case, I'm not lying. They have endless resources to call, you know, experts to throw. I mean, guys, I'm nervous for her. I would actually like to see her just keep postponing it as long as possible, to be honest with you, to spend as much time at home with her family as possible, and as much time as she could to be praying. I know she's not a Christian, but I would be praying to Jesus to please intervene, because it's scary. She could have an amazing attorney. Her attorney could be amazing. He could be so smart. I know that he is a good attorney. He comes from a smaller, though, practice, okay? He comes from a smaller practice. So he doesn't have the resources to be working on this case 24/7. He doesn't have the resources to pay people to work all day and all night. He doesn't have the resources to even just put himself solely on that case unless she's paying him more than she probably can afford, because he has other clients, he has other obligations, other court dates, right? He doesn't have the resources to be working on this case the way that the prosecution does, and that is not a good thing. So you have that on top of the fact that every single person named in the indictment has made a plea deal and has agreed to testify against Jen Shah. It's not good. I feel really bad, and I really hope that it turns out differently for her, because, you know, people will say, well, she ripped people off. She ripped old people off. She should go to prison. She committed a crime. Absolutely. Anyone that rips off old people or steals from orphans or widows, whatever, you should be doing jail time, right? Here's the problem with all of this in our judicial system. That is great. If you rip people off and you break the law, then you definitely should face the consequences, whatever they are. Here's the difference. How come all the other people named in the indictment who are, by admission, just as guilty as Jen Shah, they did the same things that Jen Shah did, but they're not gonna see the time that Jen will. They'll get a lesser charge for testifying against Jen. So how does that make any sense, right? Because are we really getting justice if we get one person who gets a really, really, really big sentence and everyone else who was committing the same crimes, like, doesn't get any time? Is there justice in that? Is what I'm asking as a question, like, not trying to be mean. Like, okay, yeah, she was the ringleader. She allegedly was the ringleader of all of this. Okay, but Stewart, you know, he took orders from Jen and then gave those orders to somebody else. So he was kind of giving orders too, right? I'm sure she delegated things to him that he would have to make decisions about. So, he's a decision maker, right? So it just seems to me, that doesn't seem like justice to me. I think that we have some issues and some cracks in our justice system, and in cases like this, we see it. I mean, we're seeing it with the Girardis right now, okay? If that was any of us, guys, we would be in jail. We would be on the news. We would be probably in solitary confinement eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, okay? They stole from people. They stole a lot of money from people. Well, Tom for sure. Okay, and people will say, like Alan, because he loves Erica, and that's fine, that she didn't do it directly. She just spent the money. And I get that, but our judicial system doesn't get that, because if that was anyone else, like if my boyfriend went and robbed the guy down the road and he came home and gave me the money and I went and spent it, do you think that the court wouldn't arrest me and charge me with conspiracy or receiving stolen property, or... I mean, who knows what? Would I just get away with it? Because I'd be like, I didn't know he stole it. I mean, I thought he was going down there to rob her, but I wasn't sure. And then he came home with money and I spent it. So I'm sorry. And I don't have it. That doesn't work out great. You know what I mean? I don't think that that's a very, fair situation, basically. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I just wanted to get your guys' opinion and let me know what you think. I want to know what you guys think. Basically, that's what I want to know. So, all right. We'll talk soon, guys.